Hello and welcome to 6-13. Today we're going to be talking about dividing decimals by other decimals. Yesterday we did dividing decimals by whole numbers. Now we're going to be doing decimals by decimals. Will you please write this into your notebook? When dividing by decimals, change the divisor into a whole number. So I'm going to give you this clue. The dividend is on the inside, and the divisor is on the outside. So we need to change the outside number, so the divisor, so that it is a whole number. So 1 and 5/10 is not whole, but the numbers you count by, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, those are whole numbers. It says to do this, we're going to multiply both the divisor and the dividend by the same power of 10. So we'll talk about what that means, but will you write the underlined? Well, let's just write this whole thing. Pause the video, write it all in there. When dividing by decimals, change the divisor into a whole number. To do this, multiply both the divisor and the dividend by the same power of 10. Remember when you talk about power of 10s, we talk about 10, 100, 1,000, and so on. Then divide as with whole numbers. Okay, so let's talk about, let's do an example to see what does that actually mean. Casey is 4 and 5/10 feet tall, 4.5. Her brother, Jerome, is 6 and 75 hundredths of feet tall, 6.75, sure. How many times taller is Jerome than Casey? Okay, so to do that, we need to divide 6 and 75 hundredths divided by 4 and 5/10. So I guess here's where my 10 and 2 would be real great, guys. Listen, so let's replace the bigger number with 10, the smaller number with 2. Okay, so we can know that this is dividing. So what I would do is I'd say, okay, Casey is 2 feet tall. Her brother Jerome is 10 feet tall. How many times taller is Jerome than Casey? So I'd say 2 times what gets me to 10. To find that out, I can divide 10 by 2, and that will tell me that he is 5 times taller. Okay, so now I know that I need to divide. So replacing the numbers with 10 and 2 is not going to get me the answer, right? Because those aren't the numbers we're working with. But replacing the numbers with 10 and 2 will help us to see, am I adding, am I multiplying? Like, how am I going to do this? And so in this case, we see we need to divide to solve this problem. Okay, so it helps you figure out which operation to do if you change the numbers out for 10 and 2. Okay, so we're going to divide. So what I need to do, my first step, is I'm going to multiply 4 and 5/10 by 10 because I want to make it a whole number. So really, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, I need to move my decimal point one spot on the outside to make it a whole number. And then if I do it one spot on the outside to make it a whole number, I need to do one spot on the inside. These need to match. If you do 2 on the outside, 2 on the inside. If you do 7 on the outside, you have to do 7 on the inside, okay? So whatever we do to the outside to make it a whole number, the divisor, we need to do the same to the inside. Okay, so really the number I'm working with now is 67 and 5/10 divided by 45. Okay, so again, that decimal point goes straight up. I'm going to do my division. 67 divided by 45 is 1. Subtracting 45, I'm going to get 22. Now I'm going to ask myself, how many 45s can go into 225? So if I figure 45 is about 50, right? So 50, 100, 200, 250. So I'm going to try 4. Oh, 4 would get me to 200. And so then I'm going to try 5. So I'm going to come over here. Not underneath my division. I'm going to come to the side. 45 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Oh, I like that. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. Oh, look at that. Exactly. 45 times 5 is 225. Subtract it out. Get a remainder of 0. So my answer is 1 and 5/10. So Jerome is 1 5/10, or 1 1/2. 5/10 is the same as saying a half, times taller than Casey. So then we're going to check our answer with multiplying. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Well, now, why are they doing this? We need to have a 0 here. They did not do a very good job showing me their work. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. Oh, okay. I get it now. If I'm going to add these numbers, I would get a 5, 7, a decimal point, and a 6. Okay. I'm going to move this up so I can see it a little better. There we go. My decimal is a little high. Sorry about that. I was cutting off on the bottom of my screen. Probably not the bottom of your screen. 6 75/100, which is what we should have started with. Woohoo! Checks out. Okay, next example. All right, so this one we're doing 6/100 divided by 1 5/10. Okay, so 1 5/10 has one digit to the right of the decimal. So that means I need to move it the decimal point, one spot to make that a whole number of 15. So if I'm moving one spot on the outside, I need to move one spot on the inside. So that's going to make this 6/10 instead of 6/100. Okay, now read this here with me. Place the decimal point in the quotient. Okay. Boop, did that. Divide as with whole numbers. Now this is the clue. Write this down. Annex or add zeros in the dividend, the a number underneath, as needed. Okay, so if you get a remainder and you're dividing decimals, you just keep adding zeros here until you get a 0 for your answer. Unless it's repeating, then you'd stop because you would never get a 0, but a 0 remainder. So let's see, why do we need that? Okay, so if I'm going to do 6/10 divided by 15. Okay, I move my 0 or my decimal point up. 0 divided by 15 is 0. 6 divided by 15 is 0. Can't do that. So now we run into this problem, right? Because I don't have any more zeros. I can't do anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to annex or add a 0 here because it's not changing anything. This is like saying 6 dimes or 60 pennies. It's worth the same amount. Okay, so now I'm going to do 60 divided by 15. Well, I know 2 15s make a 30, so that would mean 4 are going to make a 60. So 15 times 4 is 60. I'm going to subtract it, and now I get 0 remaining. So I don't need to annex any more zeros. I don't need to add them. Remember, annex just means addition or add something in. Okay, so my answer is 4/10. 4/100. Ooh, 4/100, sorry. Okay, so I'll just write up here. 4/100. All right, so if I check by multiplying, 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. So then if I do 1 times 4, I would get 4. Okay, so then I'm going to get the answer of 60, but then I need to move my decimal point back 1, 2, 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. So I'm really going to get the answer of 0 and 6/100, which is what I should be getting. All right, let's do one more. Here we go. Okay, so I need to move my outside decimal once to make the number 13, and my inside decimal once to make the number 68 and 9/10. Move my decimal up. So I'm going to do 6 divided by 13. Can't do it because this one's not here. Remember, these ones are not here anymore because we moved them. So then I'm going to do 68 divided by 13. So I've got 2 13s make a 26, so 4 13s would make a 52. Can I add 13 in? 65. Oh yeah, I can. So that'd be 5 13s minus 65, because this one was worth 2. Then I said 4 was 52. Add another one in. So that would be 5. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract. 68 minus 65 is 3. Bring down my 9. How many 13s go into 39? Well, that one goes right in 3 times, because 13 times 3 is 39. Okay, so my answer is 5 and 3/10. Okay, well, that's all I have for you today. So our key component is we need to make the outside number a whole number. Okay, so then whatever I do to the outside, it has to be balanced. I can't just do something crazy to the outside and not do it to the inside. So whatever I do to the outside, have to do the inside, dividing like normal. Okay, we'll get some practice on this tomorrow, and then we'll be getting ready for our test. So make sure you ask any questions that you have along the way. Thanks for watching.